Clearly invisible with map, where the best things live off the map. You might miss it with your eyes, but you'll feel it in your life. Clearly invisible with map, see the soul behind the stats. If you stay a little while, you'll start seeing through the smile.
Hey there, Matt Lindsay here. Today's video is titled, I'm a Thief. Have I ever been a thief? A little bit. As a teacher, I've tried to teach students to um, be good citizens. Besides learning French, I tell them stories about my life. And if I ever see something in the classroom that I don't think is acceptable, I will try to pull in a story and say, this is, what a good person should do, etc., etc. I wasn't always the best student. So I tell my students that when I was in school, I copied homework a few times. I did. I got caught in the fifth grade. Mm. And me and the boy who was copying the girls' homework, we were doing it in the hall right before school started. And another fifth grade teacher who I didn't have caught us and took us to the principal's office. And I think they called our parents. And I don't remember what my mom did. I don't think she probably thought, well, it was the first time I'd ever done that. And then when I was in the 10th grade, 5 years later, I was lucky enough to be in the same geometry class with my sister. I am not a good math student at all, very bad math student. And I was so happy when I found out she was in my class. It was the only class we took together throughout high school. And I pretty much copied her homework throughout the whole year. Now, my teacher, Miss Gamblin, wonderful teacher, knew it. Never said anything, but she would make comments and say, "You're passing this class because of your sister." Yeah, I did. And then I don't know if I want to tell that story. That might be for another time. So I'm going to stop right there about school stories and copying homework and stuff. Never copied a quiz or a test. I'm not saying that I was above that. Maybe I thought I would get caught, but who knows? But I've ever stolen anything like an object. Well, my mom broke me of that when I was just a little bitty toddler. When our town had what I would say a good mall back in the 80s, we had a drugstore in that mall, and I think it was called Osco's. And I was in the little cart. My mom had me in the cart, in the little shopping cart, I guess. And do you remember? I don't know the last time I've ever seen one of these displays, but Brock's candy. Brock's, yeah, they sell those peppermint discs, those cinnamon discs, those what are those yellow ones? Butterscotch and all these other little flavors. Well, back in the day, stores and grocery stores would have these Brock's displays, and it would have these great big scoops, and you could scoop them out and put a certain amount of candy in a bag and buy whatever it is that you wanted. Well, while my mom wasn't looking, I think I was just 3, so I didn't really know any better. I grabbed one of those candies and I stuck it in my mouth. I was just chomping on it. And I think it took her a while to realize that I had something in my mouth. Now, how do I remember this being 3? My childhood was crazy, so uh, very traumatic sometimes. So I think these things have just stayed in my mind. Now, how could being in a drugstore be traumatic? But that's not what I'm talking about. I think sometimes when you are a child and you witness certain things at a very early age, those things are just in your brain. And I've always had this very, very strange memory. My wife thinks it's crazy how I can remember um, one of where I was when I heard a song that I liked for the first time. But anyway, so here we are in Osco's, and my mom discovers that I have a piece of candy in my mouth. And she says, "Where'd you get that? Where'd you get that?" And I pointed to the Brock stand, and she said, "You stole that. You're going to go to jail." And did it in a way, where parents are trying to teach a lesson. And that's something that stuck with me forever. And I cried and cried and cried. I was like, I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to go to jail. And she said, well, let's pay for it. Maybe you won't have to go to jail. I think she gave me a quarter, and she pushed me up to the cashier. And I swear I remember the cashier laughing because she thought, oh, she's teaching this little boy a lesson. And I paid her the quarter or whatever it is my mom gave me. And that stuck with me. And so all these years, I thought I'm just not, I would never steal anything, take anything that's not mine. It's wrong. But somehow I forgot that when I was 21 years old and I was living in Paris. Oh, yeah. I stole something when I was in Paris. I should have gone to jail. What was it? Well, under the Eiffel Tower. Now, I don't know. I'm sure it's the same way. It's been a long time since I've been to Paris. Under the Eiffel Tower, there are little pebbles, little rocks. And one day while I was there, I was taking pictures and I looked down and saw all these rocks. And I thought, man, wouldn't it be cool to bring back a bunch of these rocks and like make something with them? So I started to pick some up. I just had a little bit, a handful, and I had a little camera bag with me. And I started to put some in my bag. And it wasn't enough for anything, it was just a few pebbles. And there are these little police officers all over Paris. They'll blow a whistle and say, don't walk on the grass. Ne marchez pas sur la pelouse. Things like that. Like, come on, you're at a park. Why can't I walk on the grass? But anyway, so they were one blew a whistle at me, said, "Don't touch the rocks. Put them down. Put them down. Put them down." So I thought, man, they're just pebbles. They're just pebbles. Maybe it was wrong what I did, but whatever. So I threw them back down, and I thought, well, I'll come back later and get some pebbles. So I go back, and I don't know if it's a day or two. I don't remember. But I used to go to the Eiffel Tower all the time when I lived in Paris in 96 and 97. It was my favorite thing to visit. And there was back in the day when there were no cell phones, you would call people from a telephone booth. I would call people from that telephone booth on purpose and say, hey, guess where I am? I'm under the Eiffel Tower. Well, anyway, I went back, and I had my keys. And as I was walking under the Eiffel Tower, I would just kind of twirl my keys on purpose and oops, drop my keys. And then I would grab my keys and grab a handful of pebbles. I didn't grab a bunch, but yeah, I stole pebbles from underneath the Eiffel Tower. Now, what did I do with those things? Well, I had something in mind. I had purchased a lot of postcards that had the Eiffel Tower on it. And when I got back to the States, I wanted to put them in a little picture frame and then glue the pebbles around the picture frame. And that's what I did for people, several people. And I have one now that I'm going to show you that I made for Linda. Don't laugh. I'm not an artsy person. This is precious. I made this. What year was this? Oh my gosh, 96. This is almost 30 years ago. In September of 96, I left for France for my junior uh, my junior year in college. And anyway, so this is from 30 years ago almost. This is crazy. Here it is. Um, I bought a white picture frame, and I used the colors, the red, white, and blue. Those are the colors of the flag, the bleu, blanc, et rouge. And there is here's the Eiffel Tower postcard. And there are those pebbles that I stole. Oh no, the French government is coming after me. Uh-oh, I'm scared. Okay, they're just little pebbles. But yeah, was that wrong? Uh, I'm not sure. I mean, Eli and we go places, we grab rocks all the time. I mean, I don't know. But anyway, I'm a thief. What can you say? Just a little story I wanted to share with you because I saw that picture frame and I thought, oh my gosh, that's a story right there. Well, thanks for listening. I'm still new at this. I don't know how I could do a 2 or 3 minute video. That's not something that I think I can do. How can I shorten these things? But anyway, I don't do it for followers. This is just for me, and I enjoy it, and I hope someone else can benefit from my stories. So many blessings to you. Thanks for tuning in.
They ask me how I see the world, I smile and say, I listen close.